journalism. All right.
I'm just wondering if you've gone back at all and watched the tape and just seen, if you did this differently or this differently, it would have been a different outcome if you talked to your guys or going over all that?
Yeah, we watched the tape a couple of times, and we watched tape with our team yesterday. We actually did play, fairly well. Offensively, we played about as well as you could ever expect to play. We scored 1.44 points per possession in the second half against arguably one of the very best defensive teams in the country in their building. So the biggest thing was we didn't stop them at the end of the shot clock. They scored a very high percentage of their points in the last 5 seconds of the shot clock, meaning they just jumped up and made some shots, and we got to do a better job of finishing possessions. But I wasn't discouraged by any stretch leaving out of there. I thought that was better. We played better. It didn't equate to a victory, a win, but it was certainly better than what we've done many times this year when we got W's.
I know tonight Texas has Houston, and tomorrow you guys are Oklahoma State, and then Saturday Houston. Top to bottom, I know we've discussed it, but have you seen a more difficult conference or a tougher conference top to bottom than this?
I haven't. I think we had 8 teams ranked today.
Yep.
Is that right? And 7 of our last 11 games are against ranked opponents as of this week. So yeah, it's hard. We said that all along. I mean, that shouldn't surprise you guys. Yeah, it's a hard league, and certainly also challenges of Saturday, Monday 3 more times, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So, but yeah, it's a monster league, and hopefully one that will prepare everybody in the league for postseason.
Bill, you've talked about late shot clock situations, and obviously besides kind of getting your hand up and playing defense, is there anything you guys could do differently, you think, in those kind of situations, or is it just kind of luck? It comes out luck?
No, I don't. I actually think that you can do a lot of things right and teams can still score, and you can do a lot of things wrong and teams can still miss. That's basketball. But I think in our situation, switching up, understanding the clock, there's a shot clock on both ends, so if you're guarding facing this way, you can see the shot clock, and understanding on both ends. In certain situations, you don't gamble, you don't lunge, you don't reach, you don't foul, you switch up, you make them make an extra bounce. There's a lot of things that theoretically, in theory, I mean, why would you let a guy get a shot off the catch if there's 2 seconds left on the shot clock? In theory, there's some things like that certainly we can do, but we haven't been great this year in being really good in the last latter seconds of a shot clock. Now, there's been many possessions this year we've got shot clock violations or whatever, but at game point, we got to be better at those situations.
Coach, Juan was talking about the not only is the league rugged, monster league, as it always has been, he commented on the variety of styles that everyone sees and how that can help in the postseason. Can I get your thoughts on that? And then also just a general overview of Juan with being Kuzi top 10.
Yeah, I'm happy for Juan. I actually saw that today, that he made the top 10 finalist. And I do think that Juan had one of his better games in Ames. I thought he was better and played well. So yeah, of course I'm happy for Juan. But I think there are a lot of different styles, a lot of different coach philosophies, a lot of teams that ice a ball screen, that trap a ball screen, that trap the post, that don't, that force everything baseline, that play 1-3-1, that play 2-3, that play zone back to man after 2 passes. There's a lot of different things like that I think hopefully, you get into postseason, it won't be the first time you've seen it. So I think Juan's point is pretty spot on, although we haven't talked like that. That's just him on his own realizing that.
You guys just played Oklahoma State, I think 2 weeks ago. What are kind of the pluses and minuses of having these quick back-to-back games almost where you play teams in quick succession?
Yeah, I don't like them. I don't like you play 2 teams twice and then you play 1 team once. like we played Texas March 3rd, and we, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying that. I think Texas is our last game, March 3rd. We played them once, and teams that we played the 5 times, we may play them both twice by before February 1. That just seems kind of strange to me. I wish the schedule wasn't like that, but I know that it's computerized, and it may always be that way. But I think it's a little quick on the turnaround. But there are some positives to it too for both teams. You only have to scout the 3 games in between, for both teams, as opposed to scouting the 7 games in between or whatever. So I guess you could look at that as a positive.
Bill, Johnny's sample size as a starter is still relatively small, but he's really jumping up and making everyone aware of him. How does he impact the chemistry of the others moving forward if he continues to escalate his game?
Well, if he continues to play at the level he's playing at now offensively, we're going to end up being a pretty good offensive team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. If you go back and look since he's been starting, and the production that he's had, it hasn't been offensively where we've struggled at all. We've actually done a pretty good job in those areas. So yeah, he's been great. He's been great, and we can all get better defensively, and certainly he can too. But he wants to be coached, and he wants to learn. This is all new to him, but he's a guy that our guys have total comfort playing with and confidence in.
And just something quick about Oklahoma State personnel-wise, unlike a lot of teams that are like 23 years old, they do have some pretty good freshmen that'll be moving along.
Oh yeah, they've got a couple for sure, with Daly and obviously Garrison. Those guys are good. I mean, they're great prospects. Their guards are good too, and they're experienced guards, so they're young up front, and then they're very experienced in the backcourt. What they're doing now a little bit different. They're playing smaller more often, which is putting 4 guards on the perimeter a lot, which makes them stretch the defense, make them hard to guard, shoot more threes, beat you off the bounce. So they're doing that more often than what they were just 2 weeks ago.
Coach, in terms of maybe this season, are you adjusting things a little bit? Are you coaching them harder? Is there certain things that you maybe have to dabble into that maybe you didn't have to before, or change things up in terms of obviously what's not going on this season, but just how hard this conference is?
Probably, I think that's a fair question. Probably coaching different based on depth and based on maybe individuals' personal talent. It's been enough here in the past that, this is who we are, this is how we guard, there's no difference in who's out there, this is what we do. For this year, we probably tried to, and it's been somewhat effective, we probably tried to play to scout report and things like that more this year than maybe what in years past, based on this is how we need to guard for this game or that game, or this is, and they're more probably substantial type changes than there are mere minor tweaks. So I would say that's one thing, and I don't really like that a lot. But I would say that's one thing that's different. I don't think to me, intensity, things like that, tougher on, I don't like that. I would think that we could probably be pretty consistent with that over time, but changing how we guard a ball screen based on personnel, or with this guy we switch, with this guy we don't. We probably are doing more of that stuff now than what we have in years past.
The way the schedule is, Oklahoma State gets a chance to make up for what happened in Stillwater. You don't get a chance to play Iowa State again. Do you wish that you could play the original Big 8 schools twice?
Well, I haven't ever thought about the original Big 8 schools. That takes me back to 40 years ago. But I do think, Gary, I think to your point, and I said this the other day, it feels less like a league race to me, knowing that some teams in your league, you may not play until March and you only play them once, and some teams you play twice. And that's the way it is in every league in the country. Now, does that take away from the significance of anything? No, it does not at all. I'm talking about, from my standpoint, knowing that you line up and you play everybody twice feels more like it's obviously everybody gets the same opportunities. And I'm not saying ours have been bad, good, or indifferent. It just feels that way to me. But you also got to understand, my first several years here, we did play a similar unbalanced league. It felt a little different because you knew exactly who you're playing each year, and you just knew exactly how many times you're going to play somebody that year. But teams could benefit, as we did back then, by not playing Texas when they had LaMarcus Aldridge twice, or not playing Blake Griffin when they had, not playing OU when they had Blake Griffin twice. So teams can definitely benefit from that, but other people did play K-State when they had Michael Beasley twice. You can benefit, and that's not the point of what I said. The point of what I said, as far as feeling the league race when you walk into a locker room and have the league race posted and everything, it just doesn't quite feel the same when there's this many teams that you're playing and different teams you're playing, and not everybody plays each other, obviously.
You've talked plenty over the years about kind of the role of reserves, what you expect from them when they go in there, and you're not asking them to win the game, hold the line, that kind of thing. With this group specifically, you got so many talented guys around them. They're going out there trying not to make mistakes or trying to play a role. Does that take away from them asserting themselves and making plays when maybe you need them to go make some plays? Or can it?
I actually think that there was a time in the Iowa State game that we did hold the line, and we had some different guys in there in the first half and actually did okay. But it wasn't because individuals were going out and making plays. It was still mainly we held the line because when we did score, it was still the starter scoring the ball. So to your point, yeah, I guess it could. You put a backup quarterback in late in the game. Is it his job not to turn it over, or is this his job to go make a play to win it?
Yeah.
More times than not. I mean, so yeah, your point is good, but I don't think that the job that fitting in with the others and playing aggressively with other starters in the game, I don't think that should be an issue. I really don't. I think that they should play the same way regardless, but maybe play, understand, defend, rebound, take care of the basketball is probably important regardless of who's in the game, and I think we can do a better job of that.
Yeah, it just seems like with so many of those guys, a couple All-Americans, a couple guys who played in the title game, it would be easy, right, to look around and say, I'll let him do it. I speak from experience of that was my career.
Yeah. Well, you had to play. You had to let everybody do everything. The 2 minutes you did get in the game. Yeah, I think there's maybe some truth to that, but
You don't see it as an issue, though?
I see that would be an issue on any team.
Okay.
That if you have reserves and they're playing with 3 starters or 4 starters, they got to find a way to blend. One thing that we have used a lot in terminology over time was blend guys. Those are the type of guys, a lot that are off the bench, usually blend type guys that can come in and play with anybody and make the situation better.
Anything else?
Thanks, Coach.